Chris Hayes pulled a boner, which is always fun. He pills many. MSNBC, this was from May 5th, 2020. Chris Hayes on the theory that coronavirus escaped from a lab in Wuhan, China. The Trump administration is so desperately grasping at straws, trying to find someone to blame, they don't even seem to understand what they themselves are saying. Chris Hayes, can you look me in the eyes and say that? Can you look me in the eyes and say that? I guess he doesn't want to let science is going to figure out where it came from, Chris. But it's good in the meantime, anybody who has a different idea than you try to smear and stigmatize as some kind of crazy. That a boy. Because guess what? Chris Hayes was wrong. Because now, this is from the Wall Street Journal, intelligence on 6 staff at Wuhan lab fuels debate on COVID-19 origin. Report says researchers went to a hospital in November 2019, shortly before. So there was 3 people working in that lab in November of 2019 who all got so sick they had to go to a hospital with coronavirus symptoms. And so that's what this is about. No, a lot of people are saying this is the U.S. intelligence community trying to pull a fast one on you that say it came from a lab leak. Hey, how about we let the science is supposed to figure this out, right? Because didn't that former head of the CDC say he thought it came from a lab, but he said it doesn't matter what I think, the science will figure this out? So why do people kind of keep doing this? Let people speculate that it came from a lab. Let people speculate it came from nature, and science is going to figure it out. Why do we have to stigmatize someone for having a different thought than you? There's evidence on both sides. Science will figure this out. That's what I'm told. Ron, isn't that what you've heard? Everybody said the science will it doesn't matter what our opinion is, science going to figure this out, right?
Well, and it's think about how ridiculous it is that there are sides, too. Like, think about, it's just like, there should be one side, and that is, hey, let's find out what happened so that hopefully this doesn't happen again ever. That should be the only side that exists.
A lot of people, a lot of people have a lot of different theories. Hey, you should be allowed to ask every question at all times.
Oh, no, totally. But what I mean is, the last time we talked about this on the show, and I said the same thing that I'm saying now. I said then, and it's still true. I was like, we don't know where it came from yet, but we got to find out. The scientists got to figure it out. After I said that, I got emails from both sides.
Yes, me too.
Accusing me of enabling the other.
Yes.
Like I got what? Like some people emailed me and they're like, Ron, no, we know that it was from a lab. No, you don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know. You have Trump derangement syndrome. You have Trump derangement. Even though you were one of the few people on the left who questioned Russiagate, and even though you're one of the first people who says our problems didn't start in January on 2017, you have Trump derangement syndrome. And then I also got emails from other people going, you are enabling right-wing conspiracies. Right-wing conspiracies exist when a comedian accurately mentions that we don't have a conclusion that we don't have yet. This makes sense in my head because I have brain worms and nobody hugged me enough. That's every Twitter troll to me, Jimmy. That's how they all sound in my head.
That is how they all sound. They all make about as much sense. So Chris Hayes got that one wrong. New information on Wuhan researchers' illness furthers debate on pandemic origins. Dr. Fauci is not convinced coronavirus developed naturally. Breaking is from New York Times. Breaking, President Biden has asked the United States intelligence to submit a report within 90 days on whether the coronavirus emerged from an accidental lab leak. Now, I would think that report would be less than useful. You're going to ask the fucking CIA to tell you about the Wuhan fucking thing? Are you shitting me? Is that the NSA? Who are you asking? How about we ask doctors and scientists and virologists? How about we ask them? What the F? So the only reason I just want to show how he'll never have to pay a price for that. everything so this is a cult now. The Democratic Party is a cult. Chris Hayes is inside of a cult. And anybody who doesn't adhere to their precepts of their cult gets immediately called a conspiracy theorist and is dismissed as a crazy nut, even when they have a legitimate concern about the origin of the coronavirus. Because go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I just hope they keep going until they find out, because we need to find out.
Yeah, I've been told, I can't believe you fell for that intelligence bullshit about that. And it's like, so I've had people say that you can't, they want you to talk about where it came from so they can blame China. Now, I think we know that Fauci was funding the research. Right? That's an interesting thing that's also involved in this. So I don't know if he would be blaming China. I was going to blame Fauci for funding it if it proved to be true. But he is funding it. I'm not a scientist at all. I'm a Jagoff nightclub comedian, but I'm not a fan of gain of function research. Go ahead, Ron.
Here's the thing, man. Like throughout this entire, conversation that's unfolding, people who are xenophobic, racist assholes, they're going to find more excuses to be racist, xenophobic assholes. That can't stand in the way of trying to figure out where this thing came from. And I want them to investigate it until they know for sure. My personal guess so far, I think it likely did not come from a lab, but who the hell am I? I want them to know for sure. I mean, until they know for sure, we don't know.
But the bigger story here is how in May, Chris Hayes was sure that this was
sure.
He
Right.
was sure of it. He was stating a fact that wasn't a fact. He was stating a scientific theory of where the coronavirus originated. He was stating it as a fact, which is incorrect, and that's bad journalism. And this is exactly what Matt Taibbi was talking about on the show yesterday. They're stating this as a fact. That was not a fact. It has never been a fact where the coronavirus came from. We still don't know. And there he was a year ago pretending he knew. But he doesn't get in trouble for that, for being anti-science, because that's what that is. He's being anti-science. He's being anti-journalism. And he's acting like someone in a cult, because that's what pretty much everybody acts like today. Who calls themselves a fucking Democrat. This is cult behavior. This isn't journalism. That's not what he's doing here is not journalism. What he's doing there is propaganda from a cult. You are punishing someone who stepped out of line off the official cult narrative, and you will have to pay. You will have to atone. And that's what this is. The opposite. This has got nothing to do with journalism. That's got nothing to do with science. That's got everything to do with pushing a cult point of view and stifling debate and stifling discussion around the most important scientific matter of our lifetime. That stifles it. That's the opposite of journalism. Chris Hayes is the opposite of a journalist, but if you watch the show, you know that. That's why you watch this show and not that fucking show. But YouTube wants you to watch his show because he's telling you the truth, even though he's lying to you on a regular basis. He's lying to you by pretending he knows the science, and he doesn't. Anything to add to that, Ron?
I think we covered it.
Okay.
I hope they get to the bottom of it. We don't know yet. I'm thinking it likely is of natural origin, but that's just a guess. I am not a scientist.
I have no idea where it came from. But I will say this. People have said to me, well, Jimmy, they want you to talk about the origin of the virus so we don't talk about, to distract us from talking about the fact that they failed to contain the virus. Well, everybody failed to contain the virus. Europe, Italy, the United States, England. Who controlled the virus? Do you know anybody who has a stellar record in controlling the virus, Ron?
Well, I guess if we had to give the gold stars out, it would be like Australia, New Zealand.
That would be it, right?
Huh?
Yeah, that's about it. So my whole point is, can't we talk about how they failed to control the virus and talk about where the virus originated from at the same time? Can't we talk about both? Isn't it important to find out both things? I think it is. And if it came from gain-of-function research, we should, my opinion would be to stop gain-of-function research. But I don't think they are. And if this virus came from gain-of-function research, what's going to happen is the United States will then pass a law that you can't sue anybody who gave you this. You won't be able to sue anyone who did. They'll just pass a law and say you cannot file a lawsuit against the people who invented this if that's what it turns out it would happen. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you we join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.